Academic conferences are a huge part of academia, but if you don't know what they are, what you do there, and how to participate, then you are missing out on major professional development opportunities. So today we are discussing those questions and some more. So first, what is an academic conference? In its simplest form, it is an event where a group of people come together to discuss research or disciplinary topics or themes and share their ideas and experiences in relation to these topics or themes. So generally, an academic conference will have an overarching theme or research question that everybody is collectively addressing or responding to, just in smaller, more specific groups or talk settings. Now, academic conferences can go by many names. They can be symposiums, consortiums, colloquiums. There's all these eums that go at the end. They can be academic meetings or research conferences. They can be local, regional, national, international. And generally, anybody who is interested can go, though more times than not, it's mostly scholars and academics because they're the ones that are kind of looking to participate in these types of conferences. So I think the most important thing to get out of an academic conference, or what is this type of collective event, is that it's a group of people coming together to talk about their particular research interests. And while it is generally open to the public or to anybody who's interested, so students, graduate students, faculty, staff, the list can go on, and there's a variety of different topics or disciplines that can have their own conferences, I do think it's an important thing to say they are not free. So there is usually a charge or a registration fee to be able to attend, and that usually makes it harder for just anybody to go, which also includes students. However, I will say most academic conferences do have some type of student discount, even though in some cases they're not that useful. In other cases, though, it can make a conference very affordable. So then why are academic conferences important if they're just people coming together to talk about things? Well, academic conferences are super important because they provide a lot of opportunities for graduate students or scholars in general to have professional development opportunities, to discuss or discover new interventions or opportunities within their field. And if I'm being honest, there's a big socializing aspect of academic conferences. And as you may have guessed, academics generally don't have a lot of opportunities to do fun things with others. And so an academic conference also serves a big social part of academia. And it's where academics come together to meet and greet and have fun and to make new friends. Now, specifically in regards to professional development, I had an old advisor tell me that he never went to a conference without the expectation or without the goal to get one publication deal before he left. Now, I've personally never gone to a conference where I've actually left with a publication deal, but I think what he was trying to get me to understand is that when you go to academic conferences, you should have a professional goal. But because academic conferences are such a huge integral part to academia, all different types of people most likely will be there. And that's from editors, publishers, to famous scholars, and even potential mentors. And depending on how big your conference is, it can be anywhere from local scholars or people to people from around the world. So it's important to see this opportunity as not just professional development in the sense like you will network, but also understanding you are expanding your scholarly circle or community beyond just your university to a larger scheme of the globe, of the region, of the nation, and it gives you an opportunity to contextualize your research and who you are as a scholar in relation to others in your field. Academically, conferences are very important because, again, you're getting to be around all the leading scholars in your field, and most conferences are so thematically or disciplinarily focused that all of the sections or the panels or the talking group, presentation groups will be somewhat tangentially related to what you care about. And so on one hand, you get to hear leading scholarship and innovations in your field, but then on the other hand, they also give you the opportunity to think through your own research and to think through your major question. Not to mention, within certain types of conferences, they have panels or specific graduate student focus opportunities to specifically help you develop your CV, your grant applications, or just gain mentorship or learn how to work with mentors. And so while there is this theoretical professional development or like this larger abstract professional development, there are often specific professional development opportunities for graduate students that serves as sessions that are a part of the conference. Also importantly, when you go to conferences, you have the opportunity to ask questions to these leading scholars or to these conversations or group dynamics without the pressure of having to see them, the next day or the next week. And if you are somebody who gets the opportunity to present at a conference, then you get the chance to see what types of questions people have for you and your research in a low-stake environment where you're not being evaluated for a grant or for a fellowship or a postdoc, but instead people are just trying to help you brainstorm and develop and workshop your research. So in this way, academic conferences are a great way to kind of build your academic kind of vocabulary and research and really bolster up who you are as a scholar. Now, socially, academic conferences have a lot to offer. They're not just academic presentations or lectures or things like that. Many conferences have enrichment activities, events, field trips, performances, and of course this will depend on how big your conference is, what field you're in, and your own personality of what you enjoy to do. But generally there are a lot of social activities, from luncheons to dance parties to, rooftop bar activities. Many conferences are also very social. And so if that's something that you're really looking to have within your academic field, is just more connection with people that are interested in the things you're interested in, an academic conference is a great place to go. And I have a ton of fun almost every single time that I've gone. Okay, so hopefully I've been able to convince you that academic conferences are important and possibly even fun. So now your next question might be, how do you participate in an academic conference? And really, there are a lot of different ways to participate depending on where you are in your academic career and what your goals are for that particular conference. So the most common way that I think graduate students hear about participating in a conference, or it's the most visible way that you see people are participating, is that you can be a presenter on a research topic, either through doing a paper talk, joining a panel, doing a poster. But the point of this type of participation is you are the academic authority or the presenter, and you're coming in with your own research questions or your own conference paper, and you are presenting your information to a conference session. And so through this process, it is a great way to participate because, again, you're thinking through your research in a public forum, in a safe space, to get feedback, but also to see who's interested or who can help you develop it further, or how excited are others. It's also useful because on your CV, it's showing that you are actively participating in the academic discourse around your field. And so it also does something for your CV because it is demonstrating that you are academically rigorous or participating in larger conversations in the field, that you're dedicated to your field, and that becomes useful when you're applying to grants or when you're applying to postdocs or jobs. And of course, just thinking about who might be in the room or listening, going back to what my advisor said about hoping to get a publishing deal when he leaves, when you participate as a presenter of any type, you also are putting your name out there as a scholar. You are starting to build your credibility, your notoriety, or getting people to get to know you and your scholarship. And so it's a great way to kind of start to establish yourself as a researcher within the field, while also getting feedback and support and all the other things that I just mentioned. And if you're somebody watching this and you're thinking, how do I find and apply to be a presenter at a conference? Don't worry, leave a comment down below and I'll work on developing a video just for that. Because there's a variety of different types of conferences and expectations, but generally the process to getting accepted and finding it is very similar and can apply to any field or research project. But if you're not in a place in your research where you feel confident about your research enough to present it, there are other ways to participate in an academic conference. You don't just have to be a presenter. As a graduate student, you always have the opportunity to volunteer in the planning and organization of these conferences. And so there are a lot of spaces where you can help depending on what type of transferable skills you're trying to develop or relationships or connections conversations you're trying to have. So you could be a moderator for one of the panels, a facilitator for one of the group discussions. You can help organize the tech or do on-site support during the actual physical running or execution of the event. And so there's a variety of real nitty-gritty details that go into running an event like a conference, where graduate students are oftentimes depended on to support it. And so if that's something that would interest you, you would just reach out to the conference that you're interested in and ask in what ways can graduate students support. And usually if you are volunteering, it's not a paid gig, but oftentimes they give you the free registration, free meal, and all of that jazz. But of course, if you don't want to work and you don't want to present, you can always attend an academic conference as just a attendee. And through that process, you would just register and show up. Now, there are benefits to participating. As a worker, you could get your registration fees waived. As a presenter, you may be able to get your department or school to pay for your trip. As an attendee, it's gonna probably come all out of your pocket. However, you still get all of the other benefits, the academic benefits, the professional development benefits, the socializing benefits that come from participating with an academic conference by just attending, because you still are going to be within this space with these people, networking, socializing, and learning from everybody around. Now, if you're a PhD student and you're still trying to figure out this whole PhD thing, don't panic. I have a PhD basics playlist that should be popping up here on the end screens. If you found at least 2 things useful, hit a thumbs up so YouTube can share this information with others who may need it. And as always, your support and engagement helps a small YouTuber like me continue to grow. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week.